I am a pastor, I'm a musician, I am a media personality,
Why are you looking at
and
me?
then I am a husband, the most important one of it all. Yeah.
I'm his PA, so he's looking at me to make sure that he has it all right. I'm Tess Waka. I love the Lord. I'm born again. Jesus is my life. I am a radio presenter, an advertising consultant, and a foodie. And above all, I am the wife.
Well, of course, pastoring. That's the first aspect of it. Music is a huge part of my life, and then also really involved in media across Africa right now. Yes.
We are radio trainers. When he says we're involved with media, we do radio training around Africa, so with community Christian stations, just training radio presenters and radio management in general. So media is our specialty. Yeah.
Well, I think I first saw her at church. I was told there's this girl from the radio that's coming in. And then I saw her. She was very skinny. She didn't look anything like radio or what you would imagine to be a radio presenter. So after that, she left. Uh, I think after around like 2 years, 3 years, I was part of a concert that their radio station was sponsoring. So that meant that they had to come for every one of those concerts. I've
Yeah.
always seen her. I thought that she was such a snob because she's just a nice person,
Wow.
and you're like, why won't this person say hi like the rest of the presenters? Just looking like she has her own life and her own things going on. So um, we I just kept also my distance and kept on doing my thing. And then one particular day, I'm from singing, and she comes with a friend, and they're like introducing themselves and telling me that I sang really nicely. I'm like, okay, fine, thank you. And then after that, that was it. Then I think the interaction started being a bit more. I was having a concert, and I thought having her contact was going to be a plus because now I could go on radio and advertise that. Um, we started talking, inboxing each other on Instagram, and then we were put on a WhatsApp group that had um, both of our numbers in there. So I think now from now the talking is when we decided, okay, let me just get the number and talk to this person directly. Yeah.
That version is interesting. But we met at a concert. He had seen me before. I had not seen him. I was going to his church.
That's why I say she was a snob.
No, the
Like I
Lord.
was right there.
I don't think the Lord closed my eyes. I think he didn't look like this, so I couldn't. I could only see guys that were looking a certain way. So my eyes were my eyes were closed. But we were in the same spaces, but I'd never met him. I'd never seen him anywhere. Even in the church I was going, he was there, but I honestly had not met him until this concert that he's mentioning. So I went for the concert, and he was singing. He was among the people that were leading music, and I went with my friend, and I thought he sang very nice. I was like, this guy really sings nice. He's an amazing singer. And so I told my colleague, I think that guy sings very, very nice in that concert. My colleague knew him, was like, you don't know that guy? Let me come and introduce you to him. So we went backstage, kwenye kuna ma celebrity. And we went to the backstage, and my colleague introduced me to him. And I told him that he sang very well. He was like, oh, thank you. Like it wasn't a big deal for him. I think because alikuwa ameshazoea kuambiwa, oh, Pastor Benjamin, you've blessed us. So it didn't sound like it was
Why are
anything
you
extra.
really
You should
insisting
have
on
said,
that part?
radio presenter thinks I sing nice. Thank you. It's such an honor and a privilege. But that's how we met. That concert was like our first interaction.
Yeah.
But we were in different spaces before, yeah. And then after that, they say the rest is history.
When I saw her on that particular concert, I was like, that girl is she's always amazing. Yeah, she's those kind of girls that you'd want to talk to and have a thing with. But then I was just like, because I don't know where this is leading, I really don't want to engage this person. because I'll ask for a relationship and then we'll be in it and then we're just gonna break up and begin dealing with heartaches again. So I didn't want to go that direction. So I just let it be, and then we started talking. So in talking, because I think she was in she was going to SA in a few months, so she had very few weeks around. So when I actually saw that she's an open person, she's not the snob that I thought. Now we really started having stories. Would sit down and really talk and talk and talk and talk, and it's up until today, it's one of our connecting places. We talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And I would pick her brains on a lot of things. So at some point, it just hit me that, no, this person is brilliant. Like, I like her mind. I like having these conversations
You
with
think I'm
her.
brilliant?
Um,
Are you talking about me?
you're intelligent. I enjoyed those conversations. Even from my single friends, they would tell you one of the things we would do is argue out things. And constantly I would throw questions and ask her things, and how she would respond would not be the answer that I expected. A very quite interesting way of seeing things. So that's when I noticed this person is the kind of people that I like. So at that particular point is when we started now getting romantically, texting and chatting. She was not in the country, she was in SA, so we'd really chat a lot. So in that chatting is when I started noticing, this person she's amazing, she's good. So we started typing lines up
Texting
on our
and
phone,
yeah,
nini.
we started
Of course,
texting a lot.
she was interested, but she was acting like she wasn't. Yeah.
No, I was not interested.
Eventually, we, uh, uh, yeah, I think she could also not avoid me. Yeah,
No, we
that
connected.
fire could not be
Ah,
quenched.
please. The only fire that is the fire of the Lord. But we really, one of the things that made me notice him, because I was at that point, he was not the only guy that was hitting on me. Just like any single person that is, I'm sure any single person that's watching, there are several men in their DMs. So he was not the only one, but there were things that were standing out about him. He was such a gentleman. He was so kind. And I am a daddy's girl. My dad is a gentleman. And I felt this is familiar. This man is treating me so nicely. I like how my dad treats me. And so I felt the other ones were a bit, they were a bit very vulgar. I was like, there's something, I like the way this guy is just treating me. And it was on a friendly basis. But we connected a lot from conversations. So when I met my husband, I was traveling for Bible school in South Africa, and when I went there, he kept me busy. Alikuwa ananiongelesha, and how was your day? You know, those texting, and I could tell he's interested, honestly. And so he would tell me, I'm a pastor. If you need any help, there's an exam. You remember the exam, babe, that the exam that I was struggling in Bible school, but tulikuwa tunaongea sana. We were chatting, and I started liking him because of his values. He was always in church. We would talk. Umetoka wapi? I'm from serving. He was so focused, and so I could tell he has an interest. But he asked me out, I think officially. You told me I love you on the phone. I was in South Africa, and he's like, I've not reached you the whole day.
That was fast.
Yeah, he was like, I love you. And I was like, eh? You love me as a sister? Of course, I didn't say I'm kidding. But I was really struggling to, you can't just open up to someone. You can't just get into a relationship. And then I had been single for a while. And so I was very careful to give my heart to him. But I could tell he's genuinely interested in me. And I really liked him. Like he's saying, I was holding myself. I really liked him. And so when he told me, I love you, and I felt like, I think I feel the same way, but no. And then now we started, at some point we didn't need to do anything. We just got into that place without knowing. I started caring about him in ways that I couldn't tell. He started caring. It was automatic. I can't define that thing. We just got ourselves to that place. Before we realized it, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We didn't sit and find, so are you going to be officially my girl? No, it just happened automatically, right? Yeah.
I wouldn't say I bumped into her. I was actually in a relationship before that. So had taken a break because I just felt like my life was really spiraling out of control. So I was in a space where I didn't need anyone coming into my space. And that's why our first meetup really started from a conversation. Because then, with the things I was going through, we just casually talk about them. So as we kept on talking, is when I now began saying, oh, this person is actually different. And then interest started developing from that particular point onwards. So it's not like really I was looking for someone. I actually really, really wanted to be alone during that period. Yeah.
For me, I was very content with just being on my own. I was serving God. I was developing myself, going to Bible school, getting more education. Nilikuwa place yenye relationship did seem like something I'm interested in. I knew in the future. I don't remember at any point praying and asking God, I want to get married. I didn't. But I think God was preparing me. And so I would think relationships are cute. I thought relationships are amazing, but I was like, no, I was doing very well. Like I was content with what I was and who I was, and I had a great life, great friends, great family. I didn't feel like I had been single for long. I had said that I want to be in a relationship that's legit, a relationship that honors God, a relationship that will lead into marriage. And so unless I met that person, I remember the last time I made such a prayer, I told God, if I'm gonna date, it has to be like the last dating I'm doing. And so hiyo story nilikuwa nimesahau kabisa. I feel like God literally just brought my husband, like, boom, here's your husband. And we were in different spaces, and so it just happened.
For me, I like that she was not dependent on me. She had her life. So I knew this is not a lady that will, even as we keep on living together, or if we get to spend the rest of our lives together, this is not a person that will constantly be, with me, waiting for me for direction and waiting for me for everything. Because if she's done this by herself, there's some level of independence, and that's one of the things that I really liked. The one that really overshadowed all of them was her Christian values and principles. Her talk about God. I think right by now you can be sure, like she's mentioned God a lot of times than I have, and I'm the pastor. So I really liked about her. I liked the genuineness, the honesty, the values that she had. I found her to be somebody that has character, independent, um, very strong on her beliefs and convictions. I could just pick that up from the first times that we were hanging out together or talking.
When you're raised with a father that's loving and kind, and you pick up some characters and some things that you like in a man, they say, that's your first example of a man. And so I had this thing about kindness, and and because I had dated, so I could tell. Um, he was really kind. Kindness was one of the things, just kind. And there's kindness because you're born again. No, as a person, they're just kind things. There's just a kind way of someone living life, whether you have God or not. If you remove the Christian bit, he's still kind. He was very kind, and I'm talking about kindness that if if someone has tried to reach you on call and maybe you're not out there, like, I'm in a meeting, I felt that was being kind. You're taking in consideration my time and things like that. Of course, in marriage it changed. But he was kind, he was a gentleman. And then, of course, his relationship with God. I liked mostly that he knew he was, and if you ask him, what's your 10-year plan, like they say in motivation speeches, know your 10, he was focused. Let me put that word. Focused and hardworking. A hardworking man is a man to marry. Please. He was very hardworking. Those are some of the things that attracted me to him, and until today, some of the things that I like about him. Yeah.
not for long. I think all this interaction started beginning of October,
So we dated
November,
December.
December. When we got into January, when now we were telling most of our pastors and people around us that, oh, there's this girl, there's this guy, and we are seeing each other and things like that. So one of them was just like, why don't you guys go for premarital counseling? Because for where you are, it doesn't seem like you guys want to have, you know, just like a normal relationship. Just go and learn what relationships are about and see what's that like for you guys. And up until today, I feel like that's the best thing for any person in a relationship to do. When the two of you together, it's just good for you guys to just go and see, go and hear.
As you're dating.
Yeah,
just-
so that you are able to find out concerning, because you already love them, you're attracted to them. That's why you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
So just go and check out, do you really, okay, money and these things. So before you even get to the place where you're breaking each other's heart, you can just agree, you know what, that this thing is not working. So
Yeah.
let's just, you've been good, but I didn't know these things about you, so let me just, we didn't even say we were boyfriend and girlfriend or something. We are together.
So we took
So
the
we-
premarital class while we were dating. Like we were
Yeah.
2 months into dating, and we went into a premarital class. That's for people that are married, but we had not planned to get married.
So that really, it really built our faith.
Yeah.
And then we, at some point in the middle of it, we were like,
I think we can do this
we
thing.
can do this thing. So the dad was passing around Nairobi, so we just bought him breakfast and hung out. And she introduced me, like, this is Benjamin, and yeah, he's my friend. And of course now after she said that, she's taking my tea in front of the dad. So the dad was just like,
Do you see Rafiki? I actually
Can't-
took your juice. I was like, yeah, Dad, this is my friend, but I'm sharing things with you.
Yeah, so-
it didn't look like there was a friendship.
And then the dad got admitted at Coptic. He was coming for a procedure. So when the dad came around, the mom also came. So I brought my parents. That's where they met for the
Our
first
parents
time.
met at the hospital. But generally, our dating life was, I don't want to sound spiritual, but our marriage is ordained of God. God put us together. Our dating life is like, we were taking every step as guided by God. So I come back from out of the country, and then I think we would just go on. At no point did you say it's a date. We would just hang out, and it felt like a date. You know, we would go to places and just have dinner. Just like, I think the friendship
Our
was.
first date was in church.
Yes, our first date, of course, was in church. We were like, there's this function, can we hang out? But we just kept hanging out. I think there was friendship. And so it didn't even feel like a dating per se. It felt like this is a special friend because I have all these other friends. And so our dating was, it's like before we realized we're going to the next step. Our dating step was so ordained. We would just hang out, and then kidogo, I'm like, you know, my dad is in hospital. Can you come? He's like, let me come with my mom and my dad so we can pray for you. And then the mom comes, and you know, you can't meet parents if you're dating. Things were just working out. They're just
Yeah.
flowing, if I could put it that way. But I was saying that we really had a good dating life because it was so much fun. We were not fighting a lot, maybe because we dated for a short time. And then it was because it was French. I didn't feel like I want to impress him. You know, when you go for dates, you feel, I would dress up. No. We would go see each other. They say, see the shoes he's wearing right now. Thankfully, she cannot see. This is how we would come. We were so comfortable. It was just so friendly and no one to impress. That was our dating phase, right?
I think her seriousness on how she carried herself and the things that she was doing for me was really stood out. So I was like, I'd love to know this person. So now more than already what I already like about them. So let me get to really, really know who they are. So she came for just, there's this thing about essay that you can't stay 60 days.
Yeah, that time, of course. Yeah.
60 days. You have to come out of the country and then go back. Yeah, so it's 30 days, but it's, you know, it's not
Like I had to come to the country for a short while and then go back. Yeah, so for those 4 days.
so on
is
that
when-
window is when I went to see her in Costo, and I was asking her about herself, asking her what she wants to do, asking who she is. Those questions that are really, that you'd ask somebody that you really want to settle down with. And I think by the end of the of the night, I was convinced. I was like, this is a nice person. I think I've done my due diligence as it relates to this. So the other part is just praying about it and really knowing if we should go on with that or just break it at that particular point. But then that's the point where I think I asked her, what do you think of settling down? What do you think of marriage? That was now before the whole
It was 2 months
thing.
just after meeting.
So this
2
was
months.
just seeing if this person is ready to commit at that level. So when she was thinking about it, so that's why we're like, okay, you guys, kujeni tu muone tu vile inaka. And we're like, okay, sawa. And then in the midst of that is when we actually felt we can do this. So at that point we were ready. Yeah.
Yeah, so for my husband, when we met in October. I was going out of the country, and 2 months later I came back for 4 days. At that point, he really asked me, I remember he asked me, first of all, if I see him as a husband. He asked me, do you think I can be a husband to you? He was asking me very serious things because we had just met for 2 months. I was feeling, hey. And he was like, really, I just want to know if you'd be interested in marriage or not. And so he told me, as you go back to South Africa for your studies, I want you to think about it, and then when you come back, you'll give me an answer. Because we had known each other for 2 months, and these are 2 months to date nikiwa out of the country, so it's long distance. And so I remember we were in Mombasa. He came to Mombasa. He told me, so I don't know if you see me as a husband, but I want you to tell me what you think if I am. And he kept, even in text, he would pull stunts like, I'm gonna marry you. There you think things are joking. He would say stuff like that. Like I could think his mind. And so that December is when he officially,
I also don't believe that that's me.
he officially asked me. I remember he told me, ata nendo kafikirie kwanza. So it was not all, the flashy thing. I think that was wise, because maybe if you asked me at that time, thank God it was just the two of us at the beach, I'll be like, I'll get back to you. So he was playing safe. And then when I went, he told me, did you think about what I told you? So when I came December, I told him, yeah, I think you're an amazing person. I would want to move forward with you. And so from that time is when we officially decided we are going to move forward and plan to get married. Yeah.
She says that I need to engage her again.
No, when I met my husband, it looked like it was really stressing him. He had not known me for a while. And so his sisters, they're like, can we plan an engagement? Tess loves the beach. I saw it was stressing them out. And they were like, sayo tunapanga wedding na ana plan engagement. So I felt, no, that's too much. Let's get married.
And then you still knew.
Yeah, I love it. They were planning a surprise, and I knew it. So it killed the whole. Yeah, the sisters and I were very close. So it killed. I knew he was gonna propose. I knew he was trying to buy a ring. So I was like, no, this one, it won't work. So just let's get married, babe.
The proposal was late.
Yeah, it was late, and then I love it's not a proposal if I know everything. So we said that he will propose in Paris. And I think maybe when he's still saving up for that, he owes me a proposal, a good one, that it can be a good surprise. I don't know how he's going to pull that now because
I'll ask you at 10 years.
Imagine that. Yeah, so we didn't do like an official proposal. Yeah.
We decided that we're getting married around February. So it was funny because the people that we went into premarital counseling with had dated like for years. They had a date of the wedding like in September or something. And then these two people are coming in. They've not really decided anything. And then they're getting married ahead of most of them. It was just a crazy one. So in November, we were like, now that the parents have met and everything, I think the only thing that is remaining is we should go and do a dowry. And then after that, we get married. So I was like, we planned for dowry in May, and then in June, we get
the
married.
wedding in about 2 months.
So that was crazy. From February, because that means we'd had March, April, May, and June, like 4 months to do away with that. And so we went into it. We asked our sister, my sister, to come in. So it was the three of us.
We planned the wedding, 3 people, me, my husband, and his sisters,
Yeah.
in 2 months.
In 2 months.
No
And
committee, no nothing. We didn't do all those
we
committees.
put guys in a WhatsApp group and we told them, this is what we need from you.
We didn't have a lot of time, and we felt we don't want to do the traditional wedding planning of a lot of time. So we said we'll plan our wedding in a short time. So we decided we're getting married by February. We picked a date in June, and we said, let's plan a wedding. So we just put our resources together. We're a very good team with my husband. We work together. So we're like, let's have your sister on board and let's plan the wedding. So we planned the wedding, the 3 of us. But it had its challenges. First of all, it was really, at that time, there was no money. You know, planning a wedding is expensive, yeah? And for me, I was not going to compromise. I wanted a princess wedding. I was going to get a princess wedding. And so most of the challenges we faced were, I want a certain standard. Even if I don't have the money, I feel like, you know, girls and weddings, for him is like, you know, we'll have money later. We can always do a better wedding. Let's just get married. And of course, you can tell he's the one that saves in this relationship. For me, financially, I spend a lot. But the wedding planning was awesome. God really came through for us. We did an amazing wedding. We got a lot of support,
Yeah.
and we planned the wedding in 2 months. We actually did dowry in May and got married in June, which is a lot because to combine all those things. But we didn't pay much attention to the function of the dowry, as opposed to, you know, dowry is going for him to meet my family, my parents, and it's about the parents and him. And so we focused a lot. We didn't do like a whole function for dowry. And I live in Mombasa, my family are in Mombasa, so the traveling is so we said, let's just go. We actually did 2 visits. The first one, I introduced you to my parents. The second one, I came again and he paid the dowry and we did a wedding.
Yeah. So we put the guys in the WhatsApp group and we asked them for funds. And they were so amazing. They gifted us. They were giving, you know. The funny part was, like, on the eve of the wedding, we were still in town fundraising. Like, we were seated in the table and calling our friends. We were like, yeah, Jesus, tusaidie na 60K tutakurudishia. Sina 60, acha kutumia 10. Okay, sawa. And then you just did that until we had the whole
Yeah, wedding
65
planning is not easy.
that enabled us to have a wedding the next day. And then we'll sort out the rest of the stuff that was remaining.
There was no sign of
I
a
actually
wedding.
thought we were joking. You know, so these guys were not serious. You guys, are you really guys getting married? Like, it was one of those funny jokes.
There was no sign of a wedding. It didn't look like, you know, there are people in 2 months, they've already booked a venue, they've already booked service providers. Yeah. As we were not, in 2 months is when we were starting to plan. So our family thought, they were like, Mko sure your wedding it have come through. So,
and we didn't want advice, because advice was not part of what we needed. We just needed the money. So if you're not helping us, you're really not helping. So we had what we needed. We had it written down. We had it planned out. It was making sense to us. And
it was
it's something
amazing.
that we felt if we presented it to people, somebody should not have a problem wanting to commit if they really need to. So that was how we made it through that period. After the wedding, we didn't even know where we were going.
Yeah. We didn't have money. Hatukuwa na plan. Plan yetu ilikuwa to get married. After that, we were waiting for God to give us the plan. We didn't know where we were going for our honeymoon. We didn't have the money. There was a lot of dates, but we were like, as long as we are married, one thing down. Learned things that make my husband thrive. I've learned he's exposed me to things that it's like he's given me, a microscope where I can zoom and see things. So even if he doesn't say it, I know. I've learned that, values that are really non-negotiable for him. He's like, no, 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 no. When it comes to ministry and church, this is my heart. I would say I've learned his heart. And I've also learned, like, he's an ordinary guy. He's a man of God. He's anointed. He is gifted and God can move through him, but he's a man. Yeah. And there are things that every other man just struggles with. I've learned that. And of course, that had to come. For me, I thought my husband is a superman. When I was getting married, I was like, Nini, all your husbands, maybe my husband is a superman. Akikasirika hata nishautia. He will shout with that anointing that he has still. So I have learned that he's a man. Yeah, he's saved. He's born again, he's all that, but he's a man, and above all, he's a human being. His emotions can be hard. He can try and hold it, but just like any other human being, he can fall short. I think for me, that would be one of the things that marriage has taught me, and not 2 years. It has taken 5 years to learn that. Yeah.
For me, I've gotten to know her, and sometimes it's been through. Let me give a case. So we were in SA, and then she done everything. She put together everything, organized the trip, organized where we're going to stay, organized the money that we're going to spend, everything about the trip. Like, I did nothing. I was just there, I was just chilling, and she was doing everything. And it's part of our strength that she's onto things very fast. Before I get to them, it's already done or something like that. So on this particular time, she gave me money to pay an Uber. So I had the money in my hands. So when we get to where we were going, we stopped. Then I paid, and then the driver was like, it's 20 rands short.
Remember the hammer.
And then I told her the money is not enough, and she was just worked up. She was like, I gave you the money. But then I remember very well, she gave me a 40 rand note and a coin, and that's what I gave the driver. And so we had an argument right there. Like,
Baby, you have a thing with money. Even in Thailand, you lost coins and notes. You can only do liquid money.
So this guy, we get into the mall, and we are mad at each other. We go and eat or whatever. When we're getting home, she's worked up. She's like, take an Uber. It's like you don't appreciate everything that I'm doing and things like that. And I was like, but you're the one who's been doing this thing. So later on, when we got to the hotel and we were talking about that much later in the evening, I realized that my wife is a superwoman, but after she's done what she's able to, she needs to be helped, and somebody needs to and I told her, you also need to know when you've gotten to your end, and so you need to ask for help. So, excuse me. So those are some of the things that I didn't know about her. And for me, it was like, hidden. And you feel like, oh, I've known something about this person. Phew. I got to understand that she likes traveling. It's part of her thing. So at some point, after like 3 months of being in the same space, it's going
Paris.
it's going to overwhelm her mind, and it's going to make her become very unproductive. So I was like, let me make sure that at least she does that to help her refresh. I'm not the center of her happiness. There's other things that give her happiness, like ice cream and cakes.
Yeah.
And
you relate. Someone can relate. A lot of people can relate. Yeah. For us, one of the things that has taken long for us to be able to is conflict resolutions. And because of the personality, and we come from very different backgrounds, that has contributed a lot. Things that people would ordinarily, couples would not fight over them, we would fight about them because of our backgrounds and how we've been raised. But we have made a lot of progress. I think for us, one of the things that I think God used was He would show us that if we handle conflicts, what an amazing couple would be. So, like, it's like God shows you what is ahead of the conflicts. And so, one of the things that has helped us is to know that we have so much together. And so, just striving to find a way to handle conflicts. I think personality, we've at least settled that. Right now, we're not fighting about. I would fight when my husband just comes to the house and he doesn't want to talk. It would be a fight, yet it's a personality thing. Right now, I could, hey, you want 2 days to yourself? Please take your Netflix and watch. I'll go for massages, I'll go to Mombasa, I'll come back when you're refreshed. But you see, we've learned personality, so we don't. So I think we're getting to learn, because conflict is just a matter of learning how that other person is and how to approach them. And so we have at least settled on the personality. Right now, we're handling our backgrounds, because sometimes, like even financial backgrounds, we come from very different financial backgrounds. And then the place of, I think, knowing like for me, even previous relationships, how you would handle conflicts in previous, they creep into marriage. I would date guys that would always say they're sorry, whether they would always say I'm sorry I didn't pick your call. And so sometimes when my husband does not pick the call 3 times, he said, hey, hi, ulikuwa unasemaje? I'm like, hey, can you apologize first? So you were bringing our backgrounds into the marriage. I would say conflicts, we're still learning, honestly, but we are better off from the place that we were. Yeah.
Handling conflict is one of the issues that we had.
Yeah.
And so we were like, so how do we go around this thing?
We're making progress.
So
we're not yet there.
at that particular point, for me is when we started communicating. Communication now comes in. Finances, now we've had families, we've had conflict now, and now with communication. And those are the times when she would tell me, when you walk out, I feel, how do you just feel when I walk out?
Like you're leaving me
Exactly.
in life.
So I was
Yet
like,
you're just going for a walk.
I was like, no, that means I actually need a breather.
So I communicated
So
that.
when she communicates that, and then I communicate why I need to walk out, then she understands. And then I was like, I also don't like fights in the house. So if you want to talk, let's go to
But we're doing
some
better
other
now.
place in an open place where we can have a conversation about something, because it becomes easier for me to focus, and then I'm open to ideas and seeing whatever it is that we want
need to
differently.
process, yeah.
And after understanding each other and our differences, then we came to the place where we started now like really understanding the other person, to the point that our fights now, like literally, if we were like at 100, they reduced to 10. Where now you begin laughing about them.
Yeah,
You
we
begin
know.
understanding this person.
same place.
We are able to arrest those things before they really
Don't shout
become
at each other
big.
anymore. Don't bang doors.
Funny enough, today, there's no opportunity I can take if she's not coming alongside with me. It's because I've seen how much weight and importance she is to me, and why we had to go through the difficult, rough patch of our marriage. I see, like, I wouldn't want to do stuff without her. She's become that one person
Aw.
that
Me
you
too.
hold dear. Yeah.
Lakini
you
ice
really-
cream naweza enda peke yangu, South Africa naweza enda peke yangu.
She's become that one person that's really dear. It's funny how this person, you couldn't stand them.
Yeah, now has turned, yeah.
Right now, you really can't imagine life without them. They really literally become your world.
Yeah. We have a singles called Love Ride. So Love Ride was it began as a radio show. When I was single, I was talking about relationships. I used to say, I'm a single person, I want to get married in God's will. So it started before I got married for me. And then when I got married, guys were like, your husband is amazing. Can we get to know your journey? And so there's a need. People that want to get married are always looking for information. I'm sure the people that would watch this episode that are single, they want to know about marriage. There's always that need for information. And sometimes we don't really talk about marriage from the aspect of a single person. Even if you look in church, sometimes there's a lot of marriage conferences, and sometimes very few singles conferences where you just bring single people and tell us, what do you want to know? The same way you asked us, tell us, expectations kwa ground. Do you guys fight? Have you ever done this to Tess? Have you ever left the house? Have you ever? And so we thought it would be good to speak to people and tell them, ni kama mtu ambaye ameshaenda, if you're planning today to go to the US and you have someone that has already gone there, they'll tell you when you get to the airport, this is what you do, these are the documents you need. And so we thought it would be really nice, and guys just started asking us questions. It actually began because people were asking us questions. You know, like they would say, do you guys fight? We were like, excuse you? You think we don't fight? Come here, let's tell you that we fight. And so we have singles that we work with just to give them information about marriage. Any single that is hoping to get married, just telling them how marriage is, especially if you're born again, and things to avoid, and just telling you, si tusha make it, so tunakwambia mistakes. We don't want you guys to go through what I went through. You don't need to experience them. Mtu mwingine is still experience. And so we've been doing it for 3 years now, just every week meeting online and doing different topics and getting guys to ask questions. We bring couples in the meetings. It's not about us, yeah. And it's been amazing. And so if you just look us online, Tess Waka, Benjamin Waka, you'll be able to get all the details if someone is interested, yeah.
Yeah, so basically we've had at least 3 weddings come out of that. And then just literally working with them through relationships. So they're able to come and tell you there's this thing, this is what, there's this person, this is what is happening with my relationship with church, you know, how accountability, you know, those kind of things. So we just keep on working with them. A group of amazing young people that just want to pray together. They want to, and the other thing is actually meeting. Because I think, I don't know, but life in Nairobi is becoming
too
something
busy.
else.
There's no time to date.
So these guys are just in their church. These guys are also just in their church. These guys are also just in their church. But then all of them want to get married. So we're like, why don't you come around this place and then you'll be able to meet someone around here. And we've had guys just meet
within
in those spaces, and they were like, oh, let's do this. Yeah.
I used to think that I made a mistake. There are times I would feel, what? I shouldn't have married you. I would feel that way. And I know there are many times you felt that way. But I was so wrong. I was so wrong. I think seeing where we are right now with what God has done in our lives, it was the best decision I made. And I cannot wait for us to spend forever together. You're an amazing husband. I cannot wait to see how you will be with our kids. I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. I feel like you love them too much. And just sharing you, the idea of sharing you is going to be so amazing. And I am so glad. I'm so proud to be your wife.
I'd rather have bad times with you than good times with someone else. I'd rather be beside you in a storm than safe and
sound by myself.
I'd rather have bad times together than to have an easy way out. I'd rather have the one who holds.
You're a pastor and you're singing. The pastor is singing a love song. He's